another episode of the 2315 Sports Show. We're on episode 15 today. We're not going live this week. My in-laws and sister and brother-in-law are all coming in, so this weekend's kind of, as the kids say, kind of chalked for me. So I gotta get this thing going today, which we are filming on Wednesday today. But so 15, we are headed to the Final Four in the Valley of the Sun, which is what I kind of named this one. Heading to Phoenix. But we'll start. We got a little news this week that's come up. So why don't let's give us the subject for these news here.
All right. So just kind of jumping in, a few things going on. Some rather sad news. Vontae Davis, former NFL DB, passed away this week. So R.I.P. to Vontae, and just be with his family and all his friends. Just wanted to recognize and touch base with that. So
he was young too, wasn't
he? Yeah,
like
32,
35 or something.
35 or 32, yeah, somewhere in there. So
that's
young
crazy,
guy.
man.
I don't know if they announced what happened or what, but
I haven't heard.
But yeah,
tough stuff. Yeah, rest in peace.
Yep. Sticking with the NFL, big news today. Stephon Diggs leaving Buffalo and going to Houston.
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
That's going to be that's a huge addition for Houston and CJ Stroud. He is going to be, it's good now. Their offense, you got Stroud, Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, and then they got another young receiver, Nico Collins.
Nico something,
yeah. So they're gonna be really, really good this year, and probably I think probably the biggest threat to Kansas City. So huge addition for Houston, and it sucks for Buffalo because now they've lost Diggs and they've lost Gabe Davis. So they're going to be struggling a little bit this year. So maybe they address that in the draft, move up. Maybe it's a trade for, Brandon Ayuk or, T. Higgins. So I don't know what they've got up their sleeve, but it's got to be something because Josh Allen may struggle a little bit. So
yeah, that's
we'll
rough.
see. We'll see what's going on. Yeah,
that's real rough.
Switching to baseball. So I thought it was pretty cool. We touched, beginning of when we first got on, just kind of talked before the show. Bryce Harper, he's probably my favorite player in the league right now. But just to see him go and be hitless, the first 3, 4, 5 games, couldn't get a hit, and then belt off 3 home runs last night, with the last one being a grand slam. So dude's insane. Like I said, I've been watching him since he come into the league, and I know a lot of people hate him, but he's my favorite for sure.
They hate him because he's good. That's why. And yeah, to touch on it, like 3 home. I mean, that's 1 home run in a game is insane. Like, I mean, you're talking, these are professional pitchers. Like they're either throwing straight gas or some nasty stuff. Like you got 1 good pitch in at bat, and he jumped on it like each time. And I watched it. I watched the first one. I didn't catch the second 2, but the first one he crushed, and in shitty weather. I mean, rain and 40 degrees. Like that's the worst. So yeah, very, very impressive. I mean, it wasn't impressive. He went like 0 for 16 before that, but he catches fire. This could go on a tear of, a pretty crazy hit streak. So it's the start of one anyway. So we'll see what he does. Going forward.
Yeah. So he hit that one up in the zone. The second one was up in the zone, and he went opposite line drive into like the third row. Like it wasn't like one that was just belted. It was gone. Like he got a hold of it, but it was just line drive out. And the last one was like way down in the zone. Like it was close to the dirt, and he golfed that thing out of there. So it was crazy. Yep. But I mean, speaking of home runs, you got Mookie Betts. He's hit 5 home runs in 8 games already. So he's he is on a massive start to the season.
Yeah.
He's gunning for that MVP. So
Well, he's
we'll see how that goes.
fighting his own team for the MVP. Like
Yeah,
they got 3 of them. Like I mean, all 3 of him, Freeman or
yeah.
Otani, could get it. So, but he's off to a
I
hot
say
start.
they lead the
That's a
yeah
hot start.
they lead baseball in home runs, and Otani hasn't even hit one yet.
I know, that's crazy.
So I heard that and I was like, wait, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And then I looked and
Nope.
I was like, I don't think I heard that right. And I looked and I was like, oh, okay, I did hear that right. So it's good start to baseball season. I'm more invested this year than I have been in a
There you
long
go.
time because one, because of the show, but two,
Yeah.
it's just good to get into it a little bit. And everything else is coming to wind down. So I'm like, I'm gonna jump into baseball this year, really, really watch it and see, get invested. So
You might as well. I know. You know what? You know what the contributing factor I think for Mookie Betts is? Otani bet on him earlier in the
what's
year. Otani bet on
that? Yeah.
him.
Otani probably told him, say, hey, I need you to hit all these home runs. I got money.
That was his last.
I'll slide you a bill.
Yep, that was his last bet. So he had to hit
Yeah.
before he
There
couldn't
you
bet
go.
no more.
That's right. Rock on. And then we're just going to switch it up a little bit, going to the WNBA. I know we haven't talked a whole lot about that, but, Caitlin Clark put out LSU in a rematch of the championship game last year.
Incredible game.
Yes, and I sat and I watched almost every bit of it, and I was entertained the entire time. And so they said viewership is almost doubled in college basketball this year. So it's pretty cool. I'm entertained for sure. And then you had Paige Beckers and UConn going against Juju Watkins and USC. So that was a good game too. But man, this Final Four is loaded. So it's going to be cool to see. But I don't know if anybody's going to stop South Carolina. So
I don't know.
They're dominant.
They came close to losing. So I'm hoping they got one more game in them like that. I'm going for Caitlin Clark in Iowa. I mean, she's incredible. I mean, they got to get there, but she's the real deal. Like,
oh yeah,
she's crazy good. Crazy good.
Yep. And then just last thing, we got Angel Reese. She decided today she's going to leave LSU and go pro. So, like I said, not much. We don't talk about WNBA very much, but just something that I wanted to, just hit on there and
we
talk
might
about
start
a little bit. So,
I mean, there's big names in the WNBA and big ones coming in.
Women's basketball starting to take off a little bit.
We might have to
probably never catch up, to the. That'd be cool. I wouldn't be against it. So
yeah,
we'll see what's up and we'll see where we can get one for a decent price. So
yeah, I mean the show's on a budget.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, yeah. Well, we might have to pay for it out of pocket, get the reimbursement later.
Yeah, right. We'll talk to our tax guy and our accountant.
That's right. That's right. But that's all I got for the news today.
That's it. Well, on that Final Four train, we kind of touched on the women, so we might as well dive into the men's. So on the one side we got UConn, and we got Alabama, and on the other we got Purdue, and we got NC State, the surprise NC State. I think I watched each game going into the Final Four. So, I mean, UConn and Illinois, that was a game until halftime, and then all of a sudden, UConn came out rolling.
Yep.
The Alabama game, that was a good game. I didn't really want them to win, but that's okay. They showed up. But I didn't want Duke to win either. So that game, or not that game, that one, the Alabama game, I don't think. That was NC State and Duke. But Alabama game, they're just playing hot. They're playing good. They got guard play and guards win in the tournament. Then you got Purdue. The Purdue game over Tennessee, neither of us are Tennessee fans, I would assume, obviously. But I think they got a little cheated out of that game. Edey gets every call in the world at 7-4.
yes.
And before they started fouling at the end, before Tennessee started fouling at the end to kind of slow the game down, I think Tennessee shot 5 free throws and Purdue shot 22.
Hmm.
Like, you can't
Yeah.
be that far off. Like, there's no way with a 7-4 center. There's no way he only has one foul going into the last 5 minutes of the game. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel they got a little cheated. And NC State, I can't like either one of them, but I will cheer for them because I don't know. They're the Cinderella. They're it. And DJ Burns is a monster and he's awesome. So that's kind of my
Yeah.
take of the preview. I don't know what do you got? What are you thinking? Do you like who's in it?
Yeah. So watching those games, like UConn, they're so dominant. And like you may look at it and be like, oh, well, it's going to be a close game, but then they pull away that 30-0 run, like get out of town. And they play defense. That's their thing. They play defense. So they versus Alabama, number 3 offense in all of college basketball, or number 1. They're number 1 in all of college basketball.
Oh wow, okay.
But they're horrible defensively, like 300 in the 300s defensively. I think their offense can keep them in it, but at any point UConn shuts them down offensively for a little while, UConn's going to go on that run and they're going to win. I think UConn wins by 25. I don't think it's close because they'll be ready. Hurley will have them ready defensively, good game plan, and when they do that, they're going to be able to shut that offense down. So I like Alabama, but UConn is just too much. So I got but I like it. I like it. And then I watched, the last two, and NC State, like Burns is awesome.
Yeah, he is.
And I was just thankful to see the Duke Blue Devils
Agreed.
get knocked out. So if one team, if I could just pick one team not to win, it would be Duke over Tennessee. So even though I don't like Tennessee either, just kind of hitting on what you were talking about, the foul discrepancy, like they got hosed just a little bit, more than probably just a little bit.
Yeah,
like
I think
Dalton Connect was going crazy.
Yeah,
too, but they just couldn't stop Purdue, and nobody else was doing a whole lot. I want to be upset over it, but like I can't really because I'm just, it's Tennessee.
Yeah, it's Tennessee, so, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of that way. I do think UConn on that other side is just they're on a whole nother level of competition. And they're playing. I mean, they're playing hot. Obviously, they believe in their coach, which is huge. But I got them going definitely to the championship game. The other one, I'm just not. My heart says one, and my mind says the other. My heart says NC State, just because you want to see them in there. But my mind's saying Purdue because they have played well. Like, I mean, they're not dogs by any means. Matchup against UConn wise, I don't know. Both of them fall a little short. Edey's 7'4", but I believe UConn has a guy that's like 6'10", 6'11", but he can spread the floor. He can stretch out and shoot a three. So that matchup's not going to be great for Purdue. And then NC State, I mean, you got DJ Burns, but I don't know if he can stick with that guy. I know they have the Diarra guy too, and I don't know. I still don't know if he can stay with them. So it's a tough matchup for both, but I got UConn and Purdue in the championship game with UConn probably beating them by 20. The way they're going.
Yeah. Yeah. Then that was just kind of, looking over it. I mean, I already hit on it. I got UConn over Alabama. I don't think that one will be close.
No.
Um,
For a half, it will
but
be.
yeah. But in come second half, they're UConn turn it up, and
Mm-hmm.
it'll be tough. Um, the other game, just I'm about where you are. Like, I'm not a huge Purdue guy. Like,
Mm-mm.
they're the team that I just don't really trust, I guess. And I'm just kind of like, like, are they gonna do well? Are they not? Like, you never know. And so even since the beginning of the tournament, I've been like, they're a team that could flop pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree.
they've proved me wrong. They've been consistent and they've been strong and they've beat everyone pretty handily. So not really the game's ever been in doubt. But NC State, like, I love the underdog story.
Mm-hmm.
I love DJ Burns. He's tough. He's
Yeah,
physical,
he is.
and he's nice with it. So if I had to pick one, I think it's probably going to be Purdue.
Yeah. But your heart don't want to
Uh,
pick them.
it does, and I struggle to pick it. But I look at it, and UConn played San Diego State last year in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
They probably, even if even a higher seed, you didn't expect them to win really. Like, you never expect a team like that to win a
No.
championship. And then so if they play NC State, you're gonna be like, oh, 2 years in a row they got they got lucky,
Yeah.
kind of, not
Sure.
really lucky, but they got luckier.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see them play the stiffer competition in Purdue.
Sure.
But I think they send the Boilermakers home with an L.
Yeah.
So UConn winning the national championship back to back, and may even three-peat next year.
Oh, that's a hot take for sure.
Early prediction.
Early prediction. I do think though that matchup with Burns and Edey is still a tough matchup for Edey. Like Edey.
Yeah.
So for Burns, it's pretty easy. Assuming he can play his game and be physical, which he won't be able to. Like, he'll probably be out in the first 10 minutes. Yeah, maybe even less. But if they let him play, Edey can only do one thing, and that's get in the paint and throw hook shots. Like, and granted, he has the height on Burns.
Yeah.
But Burns can throw that weight to where he might not get as deep as he has been. But on the other side, Burns can step out and hit a little mid-range, and he actually hit a 3 in the ACC tournament, I think. So he can shoot a little bit. So that's a tough. You get him, outside of the paint, and those guards are going to have a heyday driving to the basket. So it's a tough. That one's a tough matchup for Purdue, and I don't think people are really giving them NC State the props they should, because it's a tough matchup, I think.
Yeah.
Wait.
If NC State wins, how would you feel about a UConn NC State? Like, do you think they would have the chance to beat UConn or what?
Beat them?
Yeah.
To me, I don't care who wins. I think they're going to win. Like, UConn's going to win this year. But
yeah,
I think they might have a better shot than Purdue, just because of the high they're riding.
Okay.
I mean, they're playing they're playing out of their minds. And that's going to continue. If that continues and they beat Purdue, which that'll put them even higher. It'll be tough. I think it'll be like a 10-point victory for UConn. I don't know as they blow them out though, because
okay,
I don't know. I think they have a little more fight in them than that. And I mean, people forget they had to play every game of the ACC tournament just to get through it. So they're on the amount of games they've played in 3 weeks is a lot. So
this will be their fifth game of the tournament,
right? And they played
not everybody's fifth, but
I think it's 5 in the ACC tournament too. So I mean, they've played 10 games in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They didn't get the first round buys of their tournament. So I don't know. I again, I don't give either one of them a shot, but I think NC State is a better team than the San Diego team last year.
Yeah.
Just because the high they're riding on. So I wouldn't mind seeing it. And I could be wrong. UConn could blow them out by 40 for all I know, but I think they stand a better chance, I think, than Purdue would. I think. Could be wrong though. So
Yep. We'll see. So we got Final Four Saturday and championship Monday, right?
Yep. Because the women's is Final Four for Friday
and
championship
Saturday.
Sunday, I think. Final Four Friday, championship
Friday and
Sunday. So which they did that very well. I like they're not on the same day. I think that was good. So
it'll be good to see.
It is. And kind of with college basketball wrapping up, we kind of have a special segment which neither of us know each other's picks for this. So we decided we're going to do our favorite college team, which is North Carolina and Kentucky, an all-time starting five. So off the rip, I'm going to be honest, this was hard. Like, you start, you have in your mind of the players that played for your team, and then you're like, well, what does the internet say? Because we all love Google. We all love that stuff. And you Google it, and you're like, oh, shit, this guy played. Oh, shit, this guy played. Like, you kind of forget of kind of those older guys. Some guys we haven't even seen, which I'll kind of give you the outline of what we're going to do here. So we're going to give you the starting five. And then I told Ethan before the show, I kind of have, and he brought up a good point, it's kind of like bench players in a way. But for me, these could be arguments for the starting five as well. I mean, it's tough because some of these guys, I know on my list, I never saw them play, but I know their names from the NBA. So it's like, well, I mean, you got to put them in there somewhere. So I'm sure you feel that same way as well with yours.
Yeah.
So do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first this time.
Or do you want to alternate? You want to do we could go by position. We'll start with centers and work our way down. Center, power forward, small forward, shooting guard, point guard. Let's do
that.
Just do starting fives on this one. And then we'll go back and we'll do the bench players at those positions or however they kind of fit in. So who is your starting center for the all-time Kentucky Wildcats starting five?
Yeah, so this one was easy for me. The center was. It was the easiest position.
Really?
And just it was. It was the easiest position for me.
I'm intrigued on this.
Well, it and the four. But both players I have for my center, super easy. But kind of, hit on what you did. A lot of mine are Cal players. I have a few Patino, Tubby players, but that's it. I didn't go back far like Dan Issel or anybody like that, even though Jeff Shepard, even though those guys were hoopers, I didn't watch them play.
Exactly.
I didn't put them in my list.
Exactly.
So starting center, we go Boogie Cousins.
Okay. So I figured that, but when you said it, I'm thinking of another name as well, so I'm not going to say it because he might be at your four now that you said that. So
yeah,
I
bet it is.
I would almost bet a lot that it is. So I'm not going to say it. So that's good. Boogie Cousins, DeMarcus Cousins. I can't stand Kentucky, obviously. I mean, I don't know as I could even cheer for him. I just can't. It's just not in my blood. But
call me.
That team, I did like that team. And that's tough for me to say. But they were a very explosive team. I don't know if any of those other guys are on your list somewhere, so I'm not going to go into that. But I think he was the best person on that team, which is probably a hot take for some people because there's some ballers on that team. But
Yeah.
he was very dominant and actually became a better pro shooting wise than what I thought he would be. So, I mean, he's not anywhere now, but that's a good pick. I like that. I like that a lot. I thought you were going to go somewhere else, but I think that's who your power forward is. So I'm not going to say that. So who I got at center. So there's been, this one was tough for me. I did go back on this one because, and I'll kind of explain it later because one of the newer ones is on there on my bench just because of who he is. But I like this guy in the pros, and that's Rasheed Wallace at my center.
Ooh.
At my center.
Okay.
He's 6'10". And I'm like, you know what? That's a good pick. I was starting to think, I'm like, yeah, I like that guy over my other the new one that I am going to put in there on the bench. But Rasheed Wallace, that was a good one.
I love Rasheed Wallace.
Yes, he was a stud.
I love Sheed. My favorite version of Sheed was obviously with the Pistons when they won the title in 2001, I think.
Right.
Ben Wallace, Sheed, Tayshaun Prince, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups. That team was nasty.
Yep.
So even with the Celtics a little bit. So just kind of looking at that, think about how physical of a matchup Sheed and Boogie would be against.
I know, that'd be insane.
You kind of have like old school Rasheed Wallace, like new school Boogie Cousins. Like they play the same style basically. Sheed stepped out, shot the three a little more, but both super physical, intimidating, mean, lots of technical fouls. That
definitely
would be fighting. The best matchup to see. I would love that.
Definitely a fight breaking out for sure. No question about it.
Yeah.
So that's who I went with my center. So who you got at the 4, which I'm willing to bet I know. But
at 4, super easy. Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
National Player of the Year, national champion. Gotta go with him. He's arguably the best player in UK history. 1 year.
Ooh.
That's all you need for him.
Okay.
Easy. That's the guy. Anthony Davis.
I like that. I put him at your 5 and I didn't know where you were going to put Boogie. So I'm glad you kind of set it up like I did, like a bench thing, because that's what I would have. But I forgot he would have probably been a 4, or he plays the 4-ish more naturally now.
Yeah.
So I like that. I figured that's who it was when you said Boogie for your center. So you probably know mine as well, because he's probably I will say this and it'll give it away. He's probably the most hated Carolina player that's ever walked the face of the earth. And I know you didn't.
He's probably the most hated college basketball player ever.
I don't know. I think Leitner might beat him on that for now.
Yeah, so I hate both of them.
At the 4, I'm going with Psycho T, Tyler Hansborough. Possibly. See, he's one. There's some names in Carolina basketball. He could be the best Carolina basketball player that's ever came around.
Honestly,
he leads in points. So if you're basing it that way,
if you're looking at their body of work in college and college only, it's Tyler Hansborough. Yes. And it's crazy that you said Psycho T, because I'm writing the list down, yours and mine side by side, and like before you even said it, I wrote down Psycho T. I didn't write Tyler Hansborough. I wrote Psycho T, and I hate that guy, but he's awesome for Tar Heel fans. So I'll let you have it.
And what another pretty decent matchup. I mean, that one's with him and AD. I think AD's got his size wise, but I mean, college Hansborough, who could step out, and college AD, who could not step out at that time. He was very good.
He was a little mid-range guy, and that was lobs and dunks.
Yeah. So that
would be a good matchup to see as well.
Be a pretty crazy one too.
Yeah.
All right. So small forward now.
All right. So my false forward, my small forward, I'm throwing it back a little bit, and I'm going to go Jamal Mashburn.
Mm,
I like Jamal Mashburn. He was a Patino guy and then a Tubby guy, and dude's a hooper. Like
mm-hmm.
great college career. Went to the NBA, great career.
Yep.
But as far as college goes, like Kentucky hasn't had a lot of small forwards that are true small forwards. They play a
Right.
lot of small ball, a lot of three guards. But I mean, we've got the likes of Jamal Mashburn, Michael Kidd Gilchrist, Tayshaun
Mm-hmm.
Prince, people like that. But Jamal Mashburn, number one on my list for small
On your
forwards.
list. See, I thought you were going with the Tayshaun right there because I thought he was one, but I wasn't sure if he played that or the two. So I wasn't
Yeah,
I
we'll
wasn't
see
too
him
sure on
later in the
college.
list.
I'm sure. I'm sure he would of the Kentucky. He was probably my second. Tayshaun was pretty good. I enjoyed watching him.
He was awesome.
He was. So my small forward, I am also throwing it back a little bit. And actually, see, this is kind of like you. They had small forwards like back in the day for Carolina. Like now, I think everyone's running more of a 3 guard set because the guards have just gotten bigger.
Yeah.
So I think the small forward position is kind of like phasing into another guard, like a wing guard. I think they say more so than small forward. But I'm gonna go Jerry Stackhouse for mine.
Okay. Not where
College,
I
he was.
thought you were going to go with that one either. But
I I had a tough one with this one just because of the positioning, um, what they were in college. I was going to go a little different way, but we'll see him later in the list at a different position. But um, I
okay.
got Jerry Stackhouse. He's my guy at the 3. So
Nice. Good pick.
again, didn't really see him play, but know the name
Yeah.
obviously. Tough, hard nosed
Yep.
guy. So and could score. So I'll take him.
Yep.
So
I like
shooting
it.
guard.
I like it a lot.
This one for you had to be real tough because they have shooting guards like
This was
crazy.
the Yes. This is the hardest position for me. Probably my one of my favorite shooting guards just because of what he did come tournament time and his 2 years at Kentucky didn't make my list at all. But I love Aaron Harrison.
Mm,
Hit the 3 big threes in the
mm-hmm.
tournament. I love him, but I couldn't put him on the list because
Um,
he just wasn't as good as these other ones. There's so many
so
good
many.
guards in Kentucky history.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going real recent. 2 years at
Oh,
Kentucky,
2 years.
dominant offensively. Defensively, struggled his first year, but now he was the best defender on his last year at Kentucky. This past year, the best
Oh,
defender on the team. My
okay.
two guard is Antonio Reeves.
Antonio
I would
Reeves.
put him up versus almost anybody else because the other guards I have on the list were really good scorers, but not great defenders. Antonio Reeves, we put him on our best player a whole lot of the time, and
Okay.
I like him. He's my
Okay.
two guard.
That's real recent. That's I didn't think you were
It
going
is.
there, honestly. I'm not gonna say who I thought, but just because I bet we see him later. But I didn't think him.
And I
So
guarantee you, your two guard is going to kick my two guard's ass.
100% it will because there's there's no way around. I mean, this was the first one I put on the list because it was a guarantee of who it was going to be. So obviously, North Carolina, great NBA goat. I don't care what LeBron's doing. Michael Jordan's my
Goaded.
two. Michael Jordan's my two. Like if he don't make a UNC top 5 list, I think you're on drugs. Like it doesn't matter. He had a huge,
If he don't make a
huge
UNC
shot.
top one list,
I agree. I see UNC top is
top two.
tough.
We'll say two.
Yes, because his college career wasn't, I mean, crazy. It's just his pedigree. Like he did hit the game winning shot against Georgetown to win the title and when they won with him. So he had it in him from there. So obviously my two is Michael Jordan, which would kick anybody's two's ass. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter who you put there. So that's going to be a loss in
For
your
sure.
column for sure.
Yep. The L.
So
Yeah. So we'll just
last
jump.
one, point guard.
Point guard. Well, another semi-recent guy. Probably put Kentucky back on the map. After the Gillespie days.
Okay.
Guy who was just explosive, and Kentucky fans rallied around this guy. And I don't think there's any other answer other than this guy, John Wall.
Agreed.
John Wall was awesome. So fun to watch. He wasn't the best shooter, but he could get to the lane. He could get through anybody, finish over him, under him, through him, around him. Yep. The mid-range was really nice, good defensively, but the speed with the ball is ridiculous, and he's under control the whole time. So
yeah.
I've got John Wall as my starting point guard, and the gap between 1 and 2 is it's not huge, but it's big.
Okay.
But I've got John Wall there. No one else.
Okay. I figured that's who it was. And I would have picked the same person if I was doing a list for Kentucky because he was electric. I will agree with that. So my point guard, this one was tough as well. Because I wanted to go with someone recent. But I couldn't put him on the list. The recent one in RJ Davis, I couldn't put him on the list. Great talent, great athlete. But my starting point guard, which might give Wall a run for his money in the speed department, was Ty Lawson.
Ooh, I forgot about Ty Lawson, to be honest.
He could maybe give him a run for the speed. Now, his size is a little way smaller than Wall's. But I saw that, and I'm like, I got to put him there. Like, the gap, kind of the same. The gap for me with the one of the point guard is really close. But I had to go Ty Lawson just for the speed and, again, national champion. So that kind of speaks volumes.
Well, I was sitting here thinking about, I was thinking about your list, and I was thinking about Ty Lawson. I'm like, not who I would have picked or thought about. I had 2 other names. I won't mention them yet, but then I'm sitting here thinking about it, and like 2 more names pop up, and I'm like, man, y'all have had a lot of really good guards as well. Like, so it's tough to mark just a few down because there's been so many really good players, come through. So
yeah, it's tough, especially at that position.
That's a good starting 5. I'll run down the starting 5s real quick. You've got Rasheed Wallace, Tyler Hansborough, Jerry Stackhouse, Michael Jordan, Ty Lawson.
Damn,
great starting 5. Great starting 5. And I've got Boogie Cousins, Anthony Davis, Jamal Mashburn, Antonio Reeves, and John Wall. And just kind of looking at, the head-to-head, like, there's 2, like, that I would pick AD over Hansborough and Wall over Lawson. But I pick Jordan over Reeves, and I would probably pick Stackhouse over Mashburn. But then, like, the center position,
that center is tough.
I don't know. It's almost a push.
It is.
Like,
I agree.
It's really, really close.
Yeah, it'd be a good game for sure.
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah,
we might have to see. It wouldn't make sense. We'd have to like build it the way we think the stats would or the overalls would be. Well, we could like 2K that. We could make that team. But you'd have to make the stats like or the overalls like what they were in college because their pro overalls are going to be a little down, or it could be escalated too because Jordan will be escalated. So you'd have to
Yeah,
kind of
playing against
decreased
the
him.
99 Jordan.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I thought you were gonna go a couple different ways. Again, we're gonna go through the bench here. So I'll start with the bench.
Okay.
And I kind of broke it down the same way in center in positions. So my bench center wise. So we were talking about this in the show or before the show, and I will mention his name, but I again never saw him play. He was an NBA guy too, the Sam Perkins, um, who was great in both. I mean, he was terrific.
Yeah.
But again, tough for me to put him on there because I never really saw him play. So I did put one, and this is probably my most recent center, and that's my dude Armando Bacot.
Okay.
Because
That's what honestly.
he's insane.
Yeah. Honestly, that's what I figured Baycott would make the list. I know you're a big fan of Baycott, so I figured he'd make the list somewhere. But I like that. That's a nasty dude to come off the bench.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy.
So pretty cool.
Crazy.
Yeah, and so for my center off the bench, I just have one center off the bench. I've got Oscar Sheboy. There's a lot of good Kentucky greats. Dan Issel is arguably a top 3 to 5 player in Kentucky history, but I didn't watch him play. I can't put him on a list and be like, oh, he was one of the greats. I never saw him play. It's really hard for me to do that. But I put Oscar Sheboy, excellent rebounder, great teammate, great leader. I had to put him up there. I think he'd be nice to come off the bench and put, give some rebounding help. So
I like that. And those our two played against each other, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Power forward again. This one for me is another newer one. I just liked his motor. I like the way he played. He was very good rebounder, very good offensively. And that's Bryce Johnson. You remember Bryce Johnson?
Okay. I do remember Bryce Johnson. Dude could fill it up.
He could fill it. He could shoot that little mid range, and he was super athletic. I mean, crazy athletic. Couldn't hit free throws very well, but he was a defensive stud because he was like 6'10", I think. So I liked him on the list, backing up Hansborough. So that's a good 1-2 punch there, I think.
Yeah, that's nice for sure. So dropping to my 4, I've got a guy that's not a traditional 4. He's a 3, but for my lineup, we got 3 bigs who can play the 4 or the 5. So I went small ball here. So to play my backup 4 is Tayshaun Prince. It's the guy we talked about. Good defensively with his reach. Could light it up from 3. I remember watching him. I want to say it was against Carolina, but I could be wrong. Come out and drop like 4 threes in a row to start the game, and one of them was from the logo. And dude was incredible. So I had to put Tayshaun on the list. One of my favorite players of all time. So
I like that.
He is my backup 4.
Backup 4. I like it. So moving to the small or wing, however you want to put it. So I know I don't remember the one for sure in college, but the other one I might remember in college, not very fondly, but he had a decent NBA career. So the first one you have to mention is James Worthy at small forward.
Yep.
And again, the reason I didn't put him in the starting 5 was just because I didn't watch him. Like, honestly, great college career, great pro career, like Hall of Fame. We know that, but I kind of based it on who I remember vaguely. So my backup 4 would actually be Antoine Jamison.
Ooh, okay.
Or sorry, backup 3. So it's backup small forward, Antoine Jamison. Great college career.
Okay.
Decent pro career as well. So
yeah, I like Antoine Jamison. I don't I didn't watch him at North Carolina, but
Mm-hmm.
in the pros, a little bit of a journeyman, but
Mm-hmm.
dude was
He was a
nice.
stud.
He was
He was a
nice with
stud.
it. Yeah. So good pick. I like that. You're building a nice bench right here. So
Yeah, look out. Look out.
um
I'm gunning.
for real. My backup three is a guy, same thing. He's a traditional two. Played the
Mm-hmm.
two in the pros, played the two mostly at Kentucky, but did play the three some with the small ball. Tubby guy is Jody Meeks.
Oh,
Jody Meeks was the
yep.
guy who could put the ball in the hole. 52
Yes.
points versus Tennessee.
Yes.
Dude was tough to guard. I
Yes.
love Jody Meeks. So he was right there. I think he got recruited by Tubby. Played, I want to say he played for Gillespie.
Okay.
I think he did at least 1 year. But dude was I've got him as my backup three. I like him
I
a
like
lot.
that. I like that a lot. I forgot about him, honestly. Um, so that's a good pick. I like that pick. I like Jody Meeks. So my backup shooting guard is probably one of your favorite players of all time.
I was
I'm
waiting for it.
betting it. And that's my dude,
Yep.
Vince Carter. So my shooting guards,
Yes.
crazy athletes and defensive prowess and can light it up. So I really
Yeah.
like that match. That 1-2
EJ
of
and
Jordan and
Vince.
Carter would be disgusting.
You get them on the floor at the same time at any
Mm-hmm.
point during a game.
Yep.
That's tough. That's
Yeah.
tough. That's nice. I was waiting for it.
I figured you
When I
would.
heard you say Jameson at your three, which I know Carter played the two in college some,
A
played
little,
the
yeah.
two in the pros some, but then
Yep.
played a lot of his years in the pros as at the three. And I
3.
was
Yep.
like, did he not put him on the list? But
Oh
all
yeah.
right, you did. So I don't
I'll
have
get
to
him
be
in there.
mad at you now.
I'll get him in
There
there.
we go. That's right. That's why I wore 15,
There you
in
go.
my playing days was because of Vince Carter. So
That's right.
I like it.
Insanity.
That's right. All right. So my two, I really
Dude,
struggled
this
with
is
who to
tough.
put here because I do have a couple names, but I'll just narrow it down to one for now. Because it's hard not to base one of the guys off of his pro career because he's
Mm-hmm.
had a good pro career so far. But as far as it was at Kentucky, I've got to go Tyler Hero.
Oh, that was a surprise for
He's
me
my
too.
two.
Okay.
He's
Yeah, he could
he's
light it
my
up.
backup too. Because of that reason. Like he's the guy that I would want to come off the bench,
Mm-hmm.
give me good minutes, put the ball in the hole. He hit some clutch threes in the
Mm-hmm.
tournaments, during, the regular season. Dude was just a bucket.
Yep.
So
That's what he
favorite
says.
memory is him. Yeah, he's looking at that guy in Arkansas at the free throw and he's like, "Don't choke and miss it." He said, "I'm a bucket."
Mm-hmm.
So Tyler Hero is my backup too for sure.
Backup 2. I like that. Not the guy I was gonna pick for you, but he might be at your one. I'm not sure. Um, so at the 1 point guard, my backup. So again, a guy I never saw that I got to mention, Kenny the Jet Smith, was a Carolina Tar Heel through and through, still is. So he's on the list obviously, but I didn't see him play. He's kind of like James Worthy and the Sam Perkin. Like you got to put him on there because they're Hall of Famers. But
Yeah.
the guy, possibly one of my favorite guards that have come through Carolina, and I don't know if you're gonna project this one or not. Was the smooth lefty CJ Page. You remember him?
Okay.
He's a
I
great passer, and
Was
he
he the
lit it
was
up
he the
from 3.
one when they played Villanova? He hit the
Yes,
shot before they hit the game. I thought
yes.
for some reason I was thinking Marcus Page,
Well, that might have been it. Sorry. Yeah,
but
not CJ. That was wrong. Marcus Page is right. I have Marcus literally
okay,
wrote.
I was
I don't know where the CJ came from, but yeah. So
all
Marcus
good.
Page is my backup um, point guard, just because of the passing,
That's
and he could shoot great. He actually has the most
I,
threes in Carolina history. So
I
he's my
thought he
guy.
was going to be your starting point guard. That's who I thought about the most. I was like, he's going to be the starter. But then you
Yeah,
pulled Ty Lawson out, and so like
speed kills.
I like Marcus Page.
I do too.
He's a baller,
Yep.
so I like it. But trying to keep up with your backup point guard, I have a really smooth ball handler, could shoot the ball from deep, probably one of the best passers. Another Cal guy though, Tyler Eulis,
Oh,
little guy,
little guy.
but
Yeah.
dude could score.
Yep.
He could pass. He's on the
Mhm.
coaching staff now.
Yeah.
I like Tyler Eulis a lot. But I made this list, and there's a couple guys that I like also, but I didn't put on the list, or they're like more bench players. But I know you've got a couple extra. Do you have more than what
I do
you've
not.
mentioned?
That is who I got.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
pretty much. I don't even. The only one. So there is one that he's kind of controversial because he got in trouble and had to leave early. And you probably know where I'm going right when I said that. But PJ Hairston at my
Yes.
he was more of a 3, but he was an all around guy. Defense, 3, drive, it didn't matter. Like he was it. I didn't put him on there because of his problems in college. I know Lawson had his
Yeah.
problems in the pros, but so he didn't make it. And honestly, another guy at the same spot, which I could have put him at the 2, he would have been a defensive, like he's probably one of my favorite Carolina players as well. JP Tokoto, who couldn't hit a free throw to save his life, but uber athletic, like stupid athletic, could jump over people. It didn't even matter. And his defense was on point. So I really liked him for like a motor guy and a hype guy. So that's pretty much it though.
Yeah. Yeah. So a few guys on your list that I thought you were going to mention, and you can name who you thought I was going to mention too, but that didn't get mentioned was Raymond Felton.
Yeah.
He's a Carolina boy, right? Okay.
Yep.
Raymond Felton, Kobe White.
Yeah.
Sean May. Sean May was a big guy that I was like, he'll have Sean May won a national championship, but didn't hear his name called, which is fine. And I was like, but those guys were ones that, really stuck out to me more than anyone else. But Raymond Felton, Sean May, because, they were there together.
Yes.
But when you were talking guards, Kobe White was one that I really thought of. I was like, Kobe White probably will be on his list, but
yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, and a 1-year guy. Like I tried to stay away from him. Like I mean, he was excellent. Don't get me wrong, but Sean May was honestly, I picked Baycott over May just because I don't know. Baycott's like our guy. Like he is a true target. Like he stayed an extra year. He tried. Like I don't know. He pulls at the heartstrings a little bit. So Armando is like he's pretty much Sean May 2.0 if you looked. And Sean May is actually on the coaching staff. So but Baycott could probably shoot a little better from the outside. Sean May was a bruiser. But he was kind of the first one of those big men that could run back in the day. That wasn't a very common thing. And that's why Carolina pretty well won that year. They ran. I mean, they introduced it. That league introduced it pretty much. And look at it now.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Yeah, I wanted to put May on there for sure. But I don't know. Rasheed Wallace just spoke to me at the 5 just to have the physicalness.
Hey,
and
I like it.
And I like Baycott for the rebounding for sure, and the little offense too. So kind of kind of mirroring image of Rashid, just not the temper of Rashid. So I had to get a temper guy in there for sure.
There
With
you go.
with my other
That's all
temper
right.
guy of Psycho T. So
That'd be a crazy front court.
so two main guys off your list that I am very confused on. And actually they'd be I don't know if the one I know the one played the one in college. I don't know if the other one did. Um, so the first one that I know that played the point guard was Jamal Murray. Dude was
Okay.
dude was awesome in college. Like I enjoyed watching him
Yep.
too. He could shoot, defense, a little. He could handle, he could pass. I really liked him, and I'm really surprised Devin Booker wasn't on there somewhere. Really surprised.
Yep. Yep.
So those two guys really, I think, were the only two that. I mean, the big man you nailed. The only other one I might have questioned was a little Julius Randle in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But because he was very good in college too. He's good in
Yeah.
pros as
Yep.
well. But those are the three probably
Yep.
that I thought would be on there that weren't. So
Yeah. So I actually have Jamal Murray as my third point guard. Like I put him on the list and I was trying to think of like, all right, who's gonna make it, who's not. I just like Tyler Eulis a little bit better
I like it.
because one, he
Yeah.
is a 2-year guy.
Mm-hmm.
But like he was a fan favorite. Not that Jamal wasn't, but Eulis was a fan favorite. He knocked down a lot of big shots. Hit a really deep three versus Tennessee in the SEC tournament. He was just a guy that, and then, if I'm trying to put any kind of cohesion on the team, like he's a good glue guy. I like Eulis a lot. So, but Jamal was just, right off the list. There's a lot of good point guards that have run through Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
De'Aaron Fox is another one. I really like De'Aaron Fox.
I'm surprised Rondo wasn't on there for you.
Rondo was another one. He was really close, but at Kentucky, he just wasn't he wasn't him yet. He wasn't Rondo.
No.
But I did like Rondo. He's just lower down on my list. And then Booker was my third shooting guard as well. I like Devin Booker. He was part of the platoon team, so he didn't really get his time to shine as much because you had sophomore Aaron Harrison in front of him.
Yep.
The team was so loaded though.
Yeah,
so
it was.
It's if you're including pro careers, he's my starter, but we're not. So, but he's
probably both be your
coming
starter.
off the bench deep.
Honestly, with pro careers,
yeah. Rondo would probably be my starting point guard at that point.
Yeah, defensive passing
because I'm his IQ's off the chart. But and then at my 4, Patrick Patterson was on the list. He was my number 3. I liked him. He was the glue of the 09 team. But just went 28 from 3 versus West Virginia in the Elite 8 and couldn't get it done. So, but I like Patterson a lot. So there's a lot of good players that have come through Kentucky, and a ton to come through UNC. So for us to break it down to 10
that's tough.
It's really tough. But yeah, so I like these lists. I like your list. I like my list a lot. So it is just very, very hard to pick just, 10.
It is. They, when I was looking, I'm like, geez, you forget some of these guys because of the new talent that's come through, like that you kind of get attached to. And, for me, like those guys would have like Wayne Ellington. And it was Wayne Ellington, and then the other guard there at the same time. Oh shit!
Rashad McCants.
No. Oh, he played in the league too. I think he was with he might have won a tie. Oh, this is embarrassing. This is horrible. I think he was on that Lawson team. Wayne Ellington, and I'll have to look it up. I'm going to look it up quick. But it's tough. Looking at all this, it's tough to narrow them down to just the because this was the 08 team. Oh, this is pissing me off.
Yeah. Well, while you're looking at it, like I was just thinking about, recent players as well. So like I got Antonio Reeves on mine, but like another guy to add in possibly is Reed Shepherd. He's a Kentucky native.
Yeah, could be.
If he comes back for year 2, if he shines, if they advance in the tournament, he could crack the list.
Could.
Whether it may not be a starter, but I mean, if he wins a Natty next year, he's the starting 2
He's
guard
on the
for
list.
me.
Okay. So that guy was Danny Green. Danny Green and Wayne Ellington played together.
Yeah. Danny Green's still playing in the league.
Yeah. So so the one that I really wanted you to say, I figured there was no shot in hell that this dude was making it. But there was a guy that with his last name was Sparks who could light it up.
Oh, Patrick Sparks.
Dude.
Yes.
He could
Patrick
light
Sparks.
it up. I was like, oh, he's gonna say this dude just for shits and giggles. Like he could play, he could ball.
I love Patrick Sparks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that guy. He was like he was pulling
a
logo
little bit further
threes.
down on my list, but dude was heck yeah. Yeah, he was Jimmer before Jimmer. So
that's right.
I like Patrick Sparks. I remember watching him as a kid, but he's he's not close.
No, I figured not. I mean, with all the guards you have, but I'm like, oh, he's gonna say it just to be funny. Like, so that was good. That was fun. We like doing that type of stuff. I'm sure that we'll do some more of that. Maybe based on pro career. That'd be kind of cool. I'm pretty sure my twos are locked up based on 2. I mean, my shooting guards are who they are going to be. But that'd be kind of fun. That'd be an interesting take on it. So if that's it, that is it for me. And if you want to hit him with that outro.
Yeah. All right. Well, we just want to thank everybody for tuning in, however and wherever you may be listening. If you like the content you're receiving, hit the like and subscribe button. YouTube, Twitter, Apple Pod, Spotify, wherever you get your entertainment. Tune in next week. Peace.